All right, guys, welcome back. Hope you're having a great day out there. This week, it is the World Finals at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the finale of the 2024 season for the World of Outlaws. And there are plenty of storylines to talk about here in this one. And I honestly couldn't even fit them all on the board. I needed my board to be about 3 feet longer to fit all of the stuff on the board that I really wanted to talk about. But I got some of the main storylines going into this weekend that I think everybody should be paying attention to. Before I get into that, I did want to remind everybody about the wing panels that I've got here. I just went to the post office yesterday, shipped out 4 of them. I still have 10 or 11 of these left. If you are interested in getting one, make sure to shoot me an email, rodmanchase@gmail.com, and we can figure out everything for that. Also, I have these stickers here. I got probably, I don't know, maybe 20 of these or so. They're a little bit bigger than the actual wing panel, maybe like 18 inches wide and maybe about, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches tall. I got some stuff. If you guys are interested in that, just shoot me an email and we can get that taken care of for you. Now, let's jump into this video here. There is a lot to talk about. And the first thing, it's not in any particular order, but at the very top, one of the biggest storylines I feel like going into this weekend has got to be Justin Peck and his debut with Rudine Racing. That team was supposed to go race the short track nationals at Texarkana 67 last weekend. That got rained out. Then I saw that they were going to go run Power Eye at Lake Ozark. That got rained out. So instead of having some regional races to go run at and get prepped, they're going to go right into, the big dogs with the Outlaws at one of the toughest races of the year. That's one of the things I could not put on the board was just, I feel like this race, take out Kings Royal, Knoxville Nationals, Houston Timebank Nationals, National Open. I feel like this weekend is one of the toughest fields of the entire year. This one and Volusia, underrated fields of cars. There's going to be over 45 cars, I think, showing up for this one. So Justin Peck and Rudine, they are going to have their work cut out for them. Obviously, they don't need to be, hitting on all cylinders right away. They're not running for points with the Outlaws. It's one more race to finish off the year. But this is going to be an interesting test. A lot of eyes are going to be on this combo going into this weekend at the World Finals. Reminder, it is 3 races for the Outlaws there, with qualifying on Wednesday night. Justin Peck has been very good at Charlotte in the past. He was second last year on the Friday night prelim, and so he definitely knows how to get around there. But how quickly will he adapt to a new car? Potentially, we don't know for sure, but probably a new engine, new crew chief, all of that other stuff. That is one of the main storylines going into this week. Justin Peck, first night out in the Rudine Racing 26. Another storyline I got, Ryan Timms is back in the Lee Big Motorsports number 10. It is going to be Ryan Timms, and as far as I know, Lee Big's debut at the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track. Obviously, we already mentioned it, a super tough field of cars. Can Timms keep up the speed he was showing when he ran with High Limit at Texas and in Missouri? Those finishes of 2nd, 9th, 3rd, and 5th. That 9th place run was the night where he broke while in the lead and drove back through the field into the top 10. This is going to be another thing I'm watching for. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I don't think even Ryan Timms knows what his future holds next year when it comes to sprint car racing. But I have heard through the grapevine that he is about done with midgets as far as running them full-time. He wants to be a full-time sprint car driver. That 10 car is not a team that I would say could go out and run High Limit or something like that. They're more of a regional team, Knoxville, Houston, it's that, Jackson, that kind of stuff. But they have been unbelievable in their 4 races together so far. And I am very curious to see how Timms goes because if he continues to show this speed, maybe that'll, open the eyes of a couple of cars and say, well, Ryan Timms, it looks like he can get the job done here on the biggest of stages because he was extremely good with High Limit. Remember that one, I believe the 2nd place run, it was his first ever time to I-70 Motorsports Park. The 3rd and 5th place runs, first time to the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track. So you combine all those things, new cars, new tracks, and good results. Timms has definitely popped up back on the radar because there for a while he was struggling quite a bit, but he's got it back together. Now, the next thing I have here on the list is the 17 GP car and the 2KS. Hank Davis in the 17 GP and Corey Eliason in the 2KS. If both of these guys can have some respectful runs, Davis, as I mentioned in the video a couple days ago, this is going to be a tough field for him to make the show in. But I think if he can go out there, have a respectable run in the B main, don't tear anything up, show a little bit of speed and do well. And if Eliason can go out there and make the show a couple of times, I feel like this could be big 2025 implications for both drivers. This could be a ride for Eliason for next year. Obviously, it's not a car that's going to go full-time or anything like that as far as with a tour. But for him, maybe he can run, with the national tours when they're in the Midwest. He can go back to California, run with Rod Tyner or whoever else out there when the national tours go there. So Eliason, I think this could be a big deal for him when it comes to 2025. The same can also be said for Hank Davis driving Michael Dutcher's 17 GP. I was texting Dutch yesterday, the day before. He's very excited to have Hank Davis in the car, and maybe this could turn into something more for both driver and team. Now, we can't talk about this video without having the World of Outlaws points on the board as well. Things are not looking particularly good when it comes to, it being super close, and it's going to come down to the last race or anything like that. But it's under 100 points, which after however many races they've ran, 70 whatever races it is, for it to come down to 74 points, it is super close. And for all the people that watch NASCAR out there, it just goes to show that you can still have a championship without having all the, what do they say, the Mickey Mouse and all the, Donald Duck and all the other crap that goes along with that. You could still have a good championship with no playoff format. Carson Macedo, however, is going to need about 12 spots per night to beat David Gravel by. So certainly not impossible. Going to need Gravel to probably DNF maybe once or twice. But it's still cool to see that the championship came down to under 100 points for, I believe, the fourth, maybe the fifth year in a row. So the Outlaws, when it comes to the championship battle, proving that you could still have a regular full season championship and have some good stuff there at the end. Ricky Thornton Jr. back behind the wheel of a 410 sprint car, and it'll be his World of Outlaws debut. It'll be his third ever 410 sprint car start. And boy, has he been doing a lot of testing here recently. And so I'm curious to see how this goes. Thornton, we all know that, he's not going to be a full-time sprint car driver, but when he does make some scattered starts, obviously, he wants to be successful. He wants to be in the shows. When he ran with High Limit this year at Lernerville, not able to make either of the shows. And arguably, the Charlotte Motor Speedway field is going to be way, way tougher than what we saw at Lernerville that night. But with all these extra laps, including laps at the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track, maybe that could be a recipe for success for Ricky Thornton Jr. to make one of the shows this week. He's going to have plenty of laps to get better and better. He's also going to be running the late model as well, so double duty. I think he's probably going to be the only guy doing that. So Ricky Thornton Jr. definitely going to be in the spotlight coming up this weekend. The 23 car going to have Justin Whittle behind the wheel. Whittle, he just won the $11,000 Dirty Jersey finale at Bridgeport Motorsports Park. On Saturday night, so a couple days ago. He ran this car, I believe, 3 times now, and the last time out, he was 5th at BAPS. So he has gotten comfortable in the car already. Justin Whittle, in my opinion, as I have here, he is very, very underrated. He's won races at the Grove, at Port Royal. I believe he got a win at Lincoln. I might be wrong on that, but he's won at a bunch of different racetracks in PA, and he's shown speed when the big tours come to town. I am very curious if Devin Borden is on the hot seat. From everything I've heard, it sounds like, he's taken some time off. Maybe he's coming back next year. But I feel like if Whittle performs this week and let's just say makes all 3 shows, runs top 15 every night, I feel like Devin Borden's got to be on the hot seat there because Justin Whittle has proven that he can get in a different car and make speed happen. So Whittle in the Stamen Motorsports 23 this weekend at Charlotte. And then we got Dason Persley on the board as well. Talking about Bridgeport, Whittle was the winner there. Dason Persley was quick time at that race, and he finished 4th in the main event. That was his first night out ever in the Buick Motorsports 13. But this coming week is going to be, I would say, the real test for this team. Bridgeport is definitely a tricky track, but Charlotte, in my opinion, if they can get it how it was last year, this is a driver's track, man. I feel like last year, Charlotte, the racing was absolutely underrated. I thought it was incredible racing. I watched it all from the infield. You had a bottom, you had to really slow down to hit a top, you had to pound the top. Yet the middle was just a skating rink, just the perfect sprint car track. It was so good. I am very curious to see how Dason Persley will run against probably, I don't know, it's definitely not the toughest field he's ever ran against because he ran the Knoxville Nationals, but the toughest field he certainly ran against in this car. He's never been to Charlotte before, so I am very interested to see how this pairing will fare over the next couple of days at the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track. They've already started off pretty well, but can they do it when the big guns are in town as well? Now, Spencer Bayston, he is going to be running the Jason Myers 14 next year. This will be his third start of his career with this Jason Myers car. He ran out in California with the King of the West, and the results were definitely not what I was personally expecting. I don't know if that was, if they were happy with it or not, but a 9th and a 10th place result at the Kern County Raceway Park in Bakersfield, California. The other one was at it was at Hanford. Sorry, it was at King Speedway. They were 9th and 10th in those two races. And in the past, Bayston has not had the greatest results at Charlotte. He's ran 16 races there, 5 top 10 finishes, 1 top 5. So the results not exactly the greatest there in the past for him, but we do know this race car is very, very fast. But this is also going to be a guy that I have a lot of attention on, maybe honestly the most attention out of anybody else on the board, just because we know how good that race car was this year. And so Bayston, I think he needs to have a good weekend, certainly needs to make all 3 shows, needs to be probably around the top 10, and I think that would be a successful weekend for them going into the offseason. But Bayston making his first national touring start in the 14 car this coming week at Charlotte. Now, the final thing on the board, going from Bayston to his other car, what the hell is going on with the CJB Motorsports 5? Like, I don't know. From what I heard through the grapevine back at the High Limit Banquet, they were supposed to race at Bridgeport. Like, that was the plan. They're going to run at Bridgeport. That'll be their first race together. They're going to run at Charlotte with the Outlaws, yada, yada. No announcement of who the driver is. I think we can all assume who it is. I'm not going to say it just because I don't want to, get myself in trouble. But I think we can all assume who the driver is. But the problem is they just haven't said who it is. We don't know what is going on with CJB. They have not really posted anything here recently. They haven't said we're going to Charlotte. They haven't said we're going to Bridgeport. They haven't said, hey, who's driving the car? We have no clue what the hell is going on with this team right now. And hopefully soon we find out who it is. And if they don't show up to Charlotte, that is very, very interesting. Like, if they don't show up to Charlotte, then I feel like the guy that's in the car, maybe it got called off. I don't know. But it's definitely a little bit weird, at least to me, that we have not heard anything on the status of that car and that driver. Maybe in the next couple of days. I mean, if they are going to Charlotte, we're going to find out tomorrow or the next day, whether he will be the guy we think it is in the car or not. And if they don't show up, then I don't know what to say about that, because that's definitely a little bit weird and intriguing. So, that's some of the main storylines that I'm thinking about going into the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track this weekend for the World Finals. Going to be some huge fields. The track, if it's anything like last year, it's going to be really, really good. The problem is I did see there's a lot of rain in the forecast as well. So we'll have to wait and see what all shakes out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Comment down below, what do you think about Charlotte? Who are you going to be watching for? What are some of the storylines for you to watch? I also want to mention real quick at the end here, I was going to have Cole Macedo on this list to talk about him in his first Outlaw start in the 2C car, but it sounds like that is not going to happen. Wayne Johnson is having a family issue right now, not able to make it, so Cole Macedo will not be in that car for Charlotte. And then the other thing was, keep an eye on Bill Rose. He might have something going on as well this week with maybe another car. I don't know. You'll have to wait and see. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below, and we'll talk to you again soon.